Evening YouTube, it's Friday the 29th of June and it's time to have a look at the chart. Now I have had a peek while I was in work at the chart, and we can obviously see that in a moment. So what I saw this morning was I had this trend line drawn. Price had obviously broken this trend line, and what I was saying, as I've been calling out for the most part of this week, is if price pushed down, then 44 cents would be the level because of previous structure where we would need to see some rejection, or where price, if it broke, there was a good chance that it could start to sort of push a bit lower. So let's just get rid of these annotations as always. So with the price, it has pushed down. We've had a really strong break. I mean, again, as I've been mentioning, just for anyone to sort of get an idea, is when you see these 4-hour candle closes below these wicks. So when the next candle pushes down and it closes, that's a good indication that price could continue lower. I mean, obviously you can see here the price did close, or did push lower to start with, came down, tested this 44 cents level, closed lower. The next candle was come back up, look where the wick is, back up into structure, which I'm sure when we'll take a look on the hour chart, this will show some sort of small pullback, and then prices pushed down. We've gone all the way down to the 618 inversion of this move here. So we've had our A, B, C sort of price movement. So you've had something like this, A, B, C, and you know, it's just looked like that was what was going to happen for the better part of the week. Now for me, let's just have a quick look on the hour just to show you this area. So yeah, there's price pushed down, consolidated, it did push down, price has pulled back up. As we can see, it's failed to then break this level of structure here, this little zone. Let's just draw that in. These wicks here, so you got that little zone, pushed up, respect to the 14 EMA, it's come back down. I mean, look what's happening now. We've come back up into, look at that, lower low, lower close. Price pushed back up into sort of this structure. So what we've got now is that big question of what will price do now. So for me, I think that the retest of 44 cents, if it does that, will be a good indication that if price can break this area, then temporarily it might be above. But looking at the, let's look at the daily, because like I said in a few videos back, look at the daily charts, the higher time frames tell you the higher story. We've just had that bearish momentum, it's just continued, and the only other wick on the radar at the moment that I'm just spying, so we're looking left, it's not a strong level of structure, but you know, there's some structure there. Is you got that wick down at, say, what, 40, is that 42, 200? But I mean, it's this, you know, we're starting to now break into this price zone now. Again, we're nowhere near the daily trend line. You know, I've seen some article I read, and I think I saw CKJ Crypto News bring it up. There is this article about it's poised for a mega breakout, and it probably will be at some point, but at the moment it's only breaking down to the downside. So in my opinion, the next week or so we could see a strong test and push down. Now we've broken this structure, and you know, that was a good level where there was at least sort of 6 or 7 candles, but it's just broken it. So yeah, I think a push down to 30 cents is a highly likely area to watch and a highly probable outcome, just because of the momentum we're in. Because of the momentum we're in. And I mean, you know, look, it's just bearish. There's nothing for me to have a bit more of a bullish outlook. We need to break this trend line. because we've had one test, two tests. We haven't really had a third test yet of this trend line. And this could be a bigger channel, because what you tend to find can happen is price moves down in these channels, which could even take us lower. So just drawing in another trend line just to get my bearings. We've had this wick here, you know, it's a bit of an unorthodox descending wedge, which is a bullish sign for anyone that's still thinking I'm, you know, spanking the doom and gloom. But here's what could happen, and this is on the weekly time frame now, is the price could push down towards the 30 cents or possibly lower. I mean, you know, the 30 cents is the top of the zone. So what we've really got to look at, where is the bottom of the price zone? And I think there is going to be a couple of levels that we need to really watch. I mean, the most obvious one, it would be 20 cents, because that's you got a bit more room to move. The mid-range of that zone, you'd probably be looking at 23 cents. So let's just put a line in at 23, a key level at 23 cents. And we'll put one in at 20, just so we've got some extra zones marked in. And this is what you've got to do when, you know, there's no point looking at the higher zones because price isn't pushing towards them. So what we've got to really look at, and then, you know, worst case scenario, if price, if it really pops down, you're looking at 40, well, say 15 cents. 15 cents, which will be interesting. So we've got a descending wedge potentially forming, which for anyone that's into their patterns, it's a bullish formation. But also there's a few things that typically in this formation happen. So you're going to have you've got to have a few points to form first to create this. So obviously we've got your touch here, price has come up, try to push, we've come back down, we've then at this level, sort of the 40, what's that, the 45 level, created this second wick, and touch we were able to draw in that point, and then price has pushed up to 92 cents, where we found this indecision, and then price has since pushed down. So we've had one come up, two touches here, one touch there, price made it to the midpoint touch there. But on the third attempt, this is where we could see some stronger a stronger breakout. And I do, sorry, I'm burping here. I do genuinely feel that from this level, there's a stronger possibility of, a mega breakout. You could have a very good breakout from this level. I mean, looking at the daily, I mean, what we could say is that's the second point here. So let's just line these things up. So we've got this wedge sort of forming here. So I would expect, look, 30 cents. I mean, the level, the 23 cents really would give us where momentum could push. And that's truly at the bottom. I mean, 30 cents top of the next support. If we break that, we could come down to 23 cents and then see a big break. And one point that DM Logic made in his video from yesterday, which I had to watch because I didn't make the live stream, he raised a few very valid points that I think was worth him pulling up and addressing. And it's the fact that a lot of people, the people that are currently, I guess, in crisis mode, are the people that, because he asked this question, he asked the question of who bought XRP under $1. Now, I remember when I first noticed Ripple, it was because it was always being shown on the charts on TradingView. Before, I wasn't really into crypto until about November last year, but I looked at Ripple because a guy in work was talking about it, and I looked at the chart, looked at the price point, I was like, you know what, at 20 cents, which we were at here, I was looking at the chart, I could see all of this, and I thought, you know what, that's a good level. That's a good level to get in at about 20 cents. I'd be happy to put a bit of money in. And as I was trying to sort out things with Coinbase and all that other stuff that you have to do, which is completely, alien when you don't know what you're doing. That next week, the price rose 600%. And, couldn't believe it. And I think my initial buy-in was around these sort of levels. But this is the breakout. This is the sort of momentum you see. I mean, all of this, what you've got to remember is, this is just it's just consolidation, moving sideways, slowly drifting down. We're going to hit a point. I'm going to say at the lowest point, we could be at 23 cents before we see the breakout. So just putting it out there that that's a possibility for me, looking at the way the trend lines are on the channel and that descending wedge. I would expect the lowest point to be sort of 23, possibly 20. And then you could then see the sort of movement we've got here. And you've got to remember that all of this here, so the price has really drifted down from February, mid-February to now. So, you're looking at almost 5 months of price moving that way. When price had its first quote-unquote mega breakout, the initial phase, that took 3 days, had price pull back, and then for the next 2 weeks, give or take, 10 days, 7 to 10 days, that's when price pushed. So you're looking at over a 3-week period is when the breakout occurred. Okay, so price went, initial movement, first 3 days, consolidated, push up, next 4 days, bit consolidation, then another 4 days. Price has been moving sideways for about 5 months. So if we recreate something like this, when price gets to that level, then it's going to be quite something to watch, because it will happen so fast that you really won't be able to catch the move. You won't be able to get these bargain basement prices, as some people are. The people that bought down here, they don't care, because this price is still either around their average, just below. It's nothing to worry about. If anything, these are the people that are confidently buying more and adding to their position. The people that are in crisis mode, just to go back to my initial point, is the fact that they didn't buy under $1. They bought probably around here. So you're looking at the upper end of just shy 2 to 3 to the highs, and all they've seen, unfortunately, is that the money they've put in has slowly dwindled to they've either sold off, they've held. Some people, may have been averaging down, taking advantage of these prices. But I think that's what we've got to really consider now as a possibility, that, price, if we have a daily close below this wick, first area to watch is going to be 30 cents. If that doesn't hold, 23 and, 20. And that's to sort of coincide with this trend line of this descending wedge. And again, if you go on Google, on YouTube, there's probably lots of videos about descending wedge patterns that you can look at. I mean, again, on the hour, we are currently pushing up towards the 14 EMA, which again would be the retest of the structure at 44 cents. So we need to see, first of all, what happens around here. If it fails to break, then I'm just trying to prepare you for where I think price will eventually end up. And, it's one of those things, that's just how price moves. I mean, for example, the trade I've got on at the moment on the pound yen, for example, this will just give you an example of the volatility and how quickly things can move. So, as I mentioned yesterday, my entry was at 46,600. Price pushed down to pretty much the 127 Fibonacci level, which in hindsight was probably the right place to put a area, because if look at structure, where was structure? It was here. I think my target maybe should have been at the 43,800 or 43.25 level, just because that's where price gravitated to, and the spread then would have, you've got to try and think of how big the spread is. So if the spread's at 4 pips and I put it down here at the 43,762, then I probably still wouldn't have hit target. My target was 43, which is down here. At the moment, my stop loss is still at break even. So at the moment, we've come back into structure. It's been a bit of a deep pullback, but look how quick price has moved up. So it took price. The point I'm trying to make is that price took, what's that? Almost a week and a half to push down 281 pips, okay? And probably in the last day and a half. So you got just over a week, and then in a day and a half, it's moved up 250. That's just how volatile this pair is, which is what I like, but it can just show you that when you have a move that takes some time to push down, it can flip reverse quicker than what it got down there. So I'm just going to wait because there's no point moving me stop, panicking. It's, you know, I'm either going to get stopped for break even or price may reverse from this level, push down, and then I have to manage my position as I see fit. So, you know, it's if I do get stopped, then maybe this is the bottom. We've had a double bottom. I'll wait for a break of these highs, pull back, then I'll look for a long on this pair. But for the moment, that's doing its thing there. Let's have a quick look at Bitcoin, just so we can see. So obviously this pattern was invalid. We're still below the 14 EMA, as we can see. And, you know, I was saying earlier this week or last week that if we saw Bitcoin hit 3,000, which is just down here, that I would think there's a strong possibility that Ripple or XRP would push down to 30. So areas to watch on Bitcoin. Again, if we don't break 6,000, first stop will be filling these wicks here. And, you know, there's a chance at sort of top end at 4,900. If that breaks, 3,000. So just with the bearish momentum, I'm putting out there that we've got this wedge. So I do feel there will be a breakout, but at the moment I don't think that this bearish momentum is over. I think it's going to get a lot lower before it gets a lot higher, which I think will flash out people that unfortunately are not in this for, don't really truly have a long-term mindset. I mean, this could go down in the next 2 weeks to 23, 20 cents the next month, and then the next 6 months of the year, September onwards, we could see some movement. So I'm expecting price to come down, go up, and I'll tell you what we'll do, actually. I'll tell you what we'll do, just so we've got some confluence and something to look back on. I would put this, obviously this is the daily chart, so we'll just put this here. So I will put it out there, so at least I've got something to call back that I am calling. Just say here, just put this saying, I feel due to bearish momentum, price will push and retest the 23 stroke 20 cents level before a big break to the upside. So we'll just put that there. Now, break to the upside, obviously, where do I think that could go? So I think looking at this from a Fibonacci point of view is the only sensible thing I can do. So going from the lows, going to the highs, this would probably push us right down into, no, it's just, there's not really a level I can, until we break this daily trend line, that's when I'm going to be able to get some actual measurements, because I think what will happen is price will push down, price needs to break this trend line first, retest it from the opposite side, then we could see a breakout. So I will just save this and we'll put it public, so it's, you know, just out there. Just need to see what we think. So just click trend analysis, XRP bearish price action prediction. See chart. Don't need to be complicated. Just needs to be there. Make that public. We'll put there XRP USD, Ripple, price action. So we'll just publish that, just so it's just there. So at least I can come back in a few weeks we'll see what's happening, and you know, we'll come back to it. But for the time being, like I said, 44 cents. If that holds, which it doesn't appear to be, then you know, we'll see what happens. But don't, you know, if you understand what price action does, you could almost be reading this from all the bearish momentum. All I would say is, as many people have said, if you are getting jittery, hopefully you're not using money that you can't afford to lose, but just turn off the charts, stop looking at the price action, and just let it do its thing. Turn off for a month. Out of sight, out of mind. You know, there's nothing worse you can do than watch price all day and get stressed if you can't handle the ups and downs of the market. You know, it's not all swings and roundabouts, it's not all glory. There are these things that happen, so we will see what happens. But for now, if you like the video, please share it. If you wanted to subscribe, please do so. I hope this, as always, you could take something away from this video. And you know, we'll see what happens. You know, I just want to make sure that if there's something I learned the hard way, so you know, if I can show people what to look for, and it helps someone, even if it just calms their nerves, that's my goal, is just to give something back to people. And you know, I know what it's like because I used to not know what was going on. But for now, enjoy your weekend. We'll come back to price, and we'll really see how quickly price decides to move.